the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. You know what time it is? Okay, everybody look. Cell phones to vibrate, by the way. You know what time it is? Much better title than Gird Up Your Loins. But it's the same kind of thought. I asked you a question earlier about a time when you were enveloped, when you were loved by God and you knew it, at a time when everything was very clear, clarity of thought, and it may have even been everything was just brighter around you. That moment of revelation, that moment of liberation. Do you have that? Do you have that kind of fixed in your mind? What that was like, or where you were, what you thought about, what you were doing? Yes. It is good to be reminded of that. And we're going to do that. Hopefully you will do that when you come to the table and you get a reboot. All of us, every once in a while, get a lot of stuff on our phones or our computers, and it's like the wheel keeps on turning and nothing clicks. Has that ever happened with you? I take it into Verizon, and some little kid grabs it. Can I say that? You've all been there. Some kid grabs it and says, "Well, have you done your updates?" No. Huh? And then they take it and they hit these buttons and say, "Well, what you need to do is reboot it, because you just got too much stuff in there. You need to shut it down and turn it back on." So, why didn't you just tell me that over the phone or whatever? Oh, I couldn't call. We all need those moments when we get when our memories need to be cleared and we need to focus in and we need to be silent. We need a chance to meditate and pray. And I hope that you do this for yourself. In our society, we are so wrapped up in doing and doing and doing and having information thrown at us. I mean, 24 hours of news. 24 hours of news. That's just crazy. And what it does, it works our brain so much that the neurons fire and fire and fire, and they overheat. And that's a lot of energy that's being used for, well, there's no interaction with it. You can't do much with it. It's just there in front of you. And then you get frustrated, and you get irritated about things that you really can't do anything about except turn that dang thing off. I've talked about the hours of television, so I won't go into that again. But that is not relaxing your brain. You're relaxing your body when you're in front of the tube. You're probably laying down or in a comfortable chair, but the neurons are still firing because you're still getting those images. I believe very much in the wisdom of the centering down and the wisdom of the prayer and the wisdom of meditation. We don't give ourselves that blessing often enough. Jesus took time to pray and get away and be quiet. How often do we do that? You know, when something is presented to you, you just can't take it all in. You say, well, I'm going to sleep on that. In the evening, you go through the evening, and then the next day, it'll come to you. Or you can't remember somebody's name, and then as you leave them from the grocery store, it finally hits you who that was. You go, oh man, because I'm not thinking about anything at that time. The mind has been disengaged. It is at those times when we meditate and pray and reflect that other neurons fire, so that we can recollect, we can remember, we can re-image, we can reboot. Now that might sound like a lot of physics and science, but it is prayer. Jesus had us do it first. The Lord, Moses, or the church fathers, the patriarchs, the prophets, all ask us to center down and to pray and reflect. It increases it deepens the well, so that when those times come of heartache and despair, bad news, you've got some depth to draw on. You draw from your own well. The well that is given to all of us if we take time to reflect and deepen and be in prayer. I mentioned St. Augustine. Are you familiar with Augustine? Not the Florida Augustine, but one of the earliest church fathers. He wrote Confessions. He wrote the earliest autobiography in the Western world. And in his Confessions, he talked about his coming to an awareness. Now, his mom, Monica, prayed a lot for him. Mom held him in prayer and wanted the best thing for him. If I got her name right, it's Monica, isn't it? I think that's right. Monica prayed for old Augustine, but Augustine was interested in booze and women. So Augustine had no interest in all the rest of it. He had his mama praying for him, and he probably had a church praying for him. This is about 360 AD, somewhere in there. And Augustine, you know, he knew on one level that he needed to get right with God. But he said, I know I need to get right, but just not right now. Sounds like a country song, doesn't it? I know I need to get right, but just not right now. But something was stirring within him. Something was disquieting him. And some of you have been, all of us, have been blessed with that same kind of thing. A disquieting of spirit, a disquieting of mind that'll cause us to do a couple of things. Ignore it, get real busy so it goes away, or take some time and sit with it. And what Augustine did, he started listening to Ambrose, Bishop Ambrose, do some preaching. But then he also went into a garden, and he spent time in prayer and meditation, and reflection, and he had that clarity of, he heard children singing, and the children were singing, "Take it and read it." So what he did, Laura, if you could put up the 13th and 14th verses of the Romans reading, please. Now, we have done in our church, we did the Lectio Divina study, where we reflected on the Word in prayer. We reflected on the Word in prayer. We reflected on the Word in prayer in silence, in the space around the words, the black and the white. What Augustine did was through his prayer, it finally got through to him that now is the time. And the girding up of the loins was to take place. That revelatory insight, when his heart and mind was warmed, like Wesley, and this occurred. And he heard the voices say, pick up the book, and he did, and he opened up the book, and this is what was given to him. Let us live honorably as in the day, not in reveling and drunkenness, not in debauchery and licentiousness, not in quarreling and jealousy. Instead, put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh to gratify its desires. He found through the Word kind of a Lectio Divina in reverse of the way we did it. But here it is. Here's the Word of the Lord being opened up to his heart and his mind. And his prayer was, yeah, I want to get ready. I want to get right, but just not right now. As Christians, we believed, and I don't know what's happened to us so much, but we believed in being ready in the early morning hours, like 4 or 5 o'clock. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. When the Lord calls us, we're ready to rock and roll. We're ready to go. We're packed. We've eaten right. And we're in constant contact with the Lord and with the Word. And for some reason, we're not quite as ready. I don't know what it is. But I miss that. Do you miss that? That sense of being kind of pushed and pulled and prodded. I miss that. Praying to get back in that space. We come to the table to get a reboot, if you will. A chance to slow down, a chance to reflect, and a chance for the Spirit to work with us on different levels. Sure, it's bread and grape juice, natural kind of things. We know what that is. But we're also, at this table, taking in the presence of the Holy. You are moving into a liminal space, a new threshold you're crossing when you come to this table. And it is here that the Spirit has a chance to, we take it in physically, but we also take it in metaphorically, symbolically. The mystery still can author us and move us and feed us if we're open to it. Do you have debts? Are you living your life with your treasure somewhere else other than here at the table or in your God? That's what Paul says. Get your debts taken care of. Not only are you monetarily those debts, things that rob you of energy and focus, but what are those things that you've buried your treasure in somewhere else? Because that's taking up a lot of your attention and your focus and your energy. Get that stuff right. That's good advice, isn't it? Live ready. Live ready. You never know. May you be plagued with knowledge that the time is near. You know what time it is? T.S. Eliot wrote in Little Giddie, "We shall not cease from exploration. At the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." Welcome to the table of the Lord, and His presence and peace be with you. While it seems familiar, may it be to you as the first time.